everyone, and welcome to... Ooh, it's weird hearing myself. I'm not... Oh, God. I don't like that. Hi, everyone. How's it going? Welcome to another VHS Vault stream. As you can see, the Spock outfit won. I'm not used to hearing myself in the headphones, but I had to actually plug in today because the Bluetooth on the computer stopped working. It says, like, the power source... The power to the Bluetooth doesn't work in the computer anymore or something. I'm not a computer person, so I had to plug in today, and it's giving me feedback. It's like I can hear myself, and I don't like it. Hi, everyone. How you doing? Although I guess it'll keep me maybe from getting too loud, so that's probably good. Unfortunately, you won't be able to see the Spock ears today, because the headset definitely folded up in there, though. I didn't just not wear them, that's for sure. Wink. So anyway, how's everyone doing? Hope you're having a good end to your week so far. Hope you have a weekend coming up here. I thought today we'd chill and we'd go ahead and look at some 80s and 90s retro futurism. You guys know I'm really into VHS stuff. I love retro futurism, and I really like 80s and 90s retro futurism in particular because it's the kind of stuff I grew up on. I loved watching like 80s and 90s sci-fi growing up. So, we have a bunch of stuff, including a particular focus on old-school VR stuff from the 80s and 90s, but there's other stuff as well about computing and, you know, other stuff. So, should be good. Just hang out and chill for like 3 hours and look at this stuff, so will be nice. I'm feeling a little bummed out today. I'm not feeling very good, so hopefully this'll help. Cool beans. This was an excuse to not wear the ears. Yes, I opened the computer, disconnected the Bluetooth adapter power source, and then spent 45 minutes trying to fix it before stream, just so I wouldn't have to wear the ears. Is Hannah a secret Lawnmower Man fan? It's sadder than that. I'm an open Lawnmower Man fan. I'm a fan of Lawnmower Man 2, Joel's War. No, I like Lawnmower Man. Like, I don't unironically like it. I don't unironically like it, but I really dig the, like, terrible 90s VR aesthetic, and the story's just terrible, too. It's a really fun, bad movie, and I enjoy the aesthetic of it. Virtuosity, another pretty good 90s sci-fi retro-futurist thing. Pretty good. Mr. Duck Sauce says, I know you might be able to share this, but I had to. Might not be able to, rather. Let's see. This is 14 seconds. It's probably fine. I flip the physical toggle on the headphone mic.
The font is large.
It's not like feedback in a bad way. It's just like it's a lot of headphones do that. That's fine.
And Jesus wept, for there were no more worlds to conquer.
I really need to watch Community. I own it, but I've never watched it. I own it on Blu-ray. Prize. Do I talk about Blu-rays enough? Speaking of which, Broha found me an awesome thing at like a thrift store today. It's a DVD box set of both seasons of The Pickup Artist on DVD. So thank you, Broha, for picking that up for me. I really appreciate that. A terrible, terrible show that will live in infamy forever within my collection. I really love owning that crap. What if I tape the Spock ears to the headset? Is that still the costume? Do I have tape? I don't think I have tape. Oh. The virtual sex scene traumatized you when you saw it from Lawnmower Man? Yeah, I feel that. I don't think I have tape, unfortunately. The level of cringe in my collection went up exponentially. It's already at infinite, as I am the owner of said collection. That crap got a DVD release. It may or may not be a bootleg. It's hard to tell just from looking at a picture. It might also be a print to order DVD, though those are a more recent phenomenon. So I don't know. Looks like it might be a bootleg, but I could be wrong. I'm not opposed to owning bootlegs if there isn't an official copy. I always try to support official when I can. But if they don't release it, the fuck do you want me to do? It's like emulation, you know what I mean? Okay, you're not going to release the game in any way I can play it in a modern world? Okay, I gotta emulate it then. What do you want me to do? You can't be mad at me for wanting to use your product and you not providing it to me. Hey, just a peach. Anyway, I am yapping a ton, so let's just go ahead and get into this. Remember, if you like the stream, make sure you give it a like on YouTube. If you want to support the stream, you can support with the tip link, gift subs, gift memberships, or bits. All right, jump into it. It's from 1991, as it just said.
Fly over Mars. Take a trek through a prehistoric jungle. Tour a house that has not yet been built. It's called virtual reality, and as Jay Schaedler found out, all it takes is a special helmet and a glove, and you're off.
You're gone, John. You're his.
The frame rate on this makes me want to vomit, and I'm not even wearing the helmet. Benikagami says, Hannah, I don't know if you heard, but after the Tate brothers were aided by Trump to flee Romania, they flew to Florida, and now 5 days later, Ron DeSantis and his new attorney general have announced they're investigating the Tates for the exact same crimes with the intent of pursuing prosecution. Shocking? Because it's Florida? But you know what? Fuck it. I'll hope for the best. Why not? Why not? Let's try hope for a change. Let's go for it. Of course it would take Florida to successfully prosecute Tate. It's like when two kaiju fight each other. Mr. Duck Sauce with a 5-stream streak says, for there no more worlds to conquer, Jesus wept.
It's a computer-generated world where you see and move and feel. Will real life ever be the same?
I want to point out, I've been obsessed with VR since I was a child. I have always been super into the idea. In particular, I liked it already, the idea, when I was a kid from, I don't know where I saw it. But then especially when I was maybe 10 to 12, when I started getting into Star Trek and the holodeck was a thing. Oh boy, the concept of VR. So great. The execution, hit or miss. Still the best experience I've ever had in VR is Half-Life Alyx. Really works there. Other times, pretty hit or miss. Still lots of fun, though. I really do love VR.
From ABC News, with anchors Diane Sawyer in New York, Sam
Wow, that's a young Diane Sawyer.
Donaldson in Washington, chief correspondent Chris Wallace, Judd Rose, Jay Schaedler, and Sylvia Chase. This.
Why is early VR so weirdly colored? They were probably dealing with a limited color palette. Like, they're already doing a ton of computing power for the computers of the time for this, so it wouldn't surprise me if they had to limit themselves to a relatively simple color palette in order to get it to function at all. But I don't know if you guys know this, the frame rate on VR is, like, huge in terms of combating stuff like motion sickness, and I'm very like, I don't generally get motion sickness. But holy crap, this old 90s VR, I don't know how everyone didn't puke the second they put it on. Miscellaneous, thanks for a 30-stream streak, says, always remember, wipe out your holodeck history. Don't be a Barkley or a Geordie. Bittergrin with a 160-stream streak. Probably 256 colors, something like that.
Prime time.
Don't forget Riker. One time Riker, who was he talking to that, like, flirted with him, and then he's like, I'll be in holodeck 3 or whatever. He, like...
It was more than 100 years ago that Lewis Carroll wrote about Alice's trip through the looking glass. Now, that fiction has...
I mean, whatever. I'm not gonna deal with this.
has become a reality.
That's the sequel book, which is fine. He didn't say otherwise. He didn't say otherwise. He didn't say otherwise. Just probably would have said a rabbit hole. Would have said rabbit hole. Looking Glass is the sequel. Sorry. I'm not diagnosed with anything, but nothing has made me feel diagnosable than what I'm feeling right now. It's not even a pedantic thing. Why am I bothered by this? What he said was not incorrect.
Reality. Or you might say a virtual reality. Because that's the name of a new computer technology that many believe will revolutionize the way we live. Jay Schaedler explains,
That's not true. I'm diagnosed with ADHD. That's a thing.
Virtual reality lets you travel to places you've never been and see things you've never seen and do things you've never done without ever leaving the room.
Why the sexy sax?
If dreams could be sold,
what would you buy? The poet's question may soon have a practical answer.
The goal of virtual reality is simple. It's total submersion, complete detachment from reality.
The
That sounds
doors are
great.
opening on a world where the line between reality and illusion has dissolved.
I want to fly over Mars. I want to experience everything the roving exploration machines experience. I want to be there. I want to explore the planet.
Every computer guy in the 90s looked like this, by the way. I don't know if you know this. This was the generic look of the computer man in the 90s. And it's incredible.
Planets myself.
You might not like it, but this is what peak masculinity looks like. Get on that grind, okay?
Advances in computer graphics over the past 10 years are making it possible to create artificial three-dimensional worlds, complete and convincing, though they only exist in the mind of the viewer and the heart of the computer. Known as virtual reality, or VR, this new technology uses pictures and sounds to wrap around your senses. Imagine a place and you'll be able to step into it. Conjure up a dream and you'll be able to fly through it.
It's unreal. It's different. And it's so natural that when you experience it, it's something that, people come out of the system and say, wow, that's unreal.
Jonathan Waldron is a 31-year-old computer scientist in England. As a college student, he designed computer graphics. Now, he's launched one of the first companies to mass-produce virtual reality systems.
Okay, so here we are going...
It's so interesting to me, too, the cycle of VR hype that happens every couple decades or so. It's certainly gotten better. You can't argue that technology hasn't gotten, leaps and bounds better than it did back then, but it's still, there's something about it. It still needs to get tweaked, and I don't know what it was. If I did know, I'd be rich. But, it's just interesting. It just doesn't hit. Maybe someday it will, but it's still not there.
into virtual space.
Not for mass adoption, at least.
Here I want to show you a little application where we've got a car.
Ginormous, he's loading a toilet tank onto his head. It does look like that.
Engine.
Nah, you haven't missed much. This is the first video we're looking at.
As with most VR systems, Waldron's uses stereo...
And the wire, too. I can't stand wired VR. The PlayStation VR 2 was pretty great, but the wire makes it so difficult sometimes. H-Baird says, the ironclad law of technology, it won't be mass adopted until it can be used for porn. You can use VR for porn. There's a lot of VR porn, I promise.
Stereoscopic images projected onto tiny screens inside the viewer's helmet. A powerful computer then generates the graphics and sounds needed to convince the viewer he's in another world. The illusion is completed when motion sensors in Waldron's glove and helmet allow him to begin interacting with whatever he sees.
What's up with the headset today? I ended up having to sell it to pay bills. Woo!
What I can do is, as you can see, freely move the articles all around anywhere I like in space. Now, on a conventional computer, this would take an awful long time. Here in the virtual world, you just pick them up and move them around.
The technology that created this hands-on control of an imaginary world is already being used to recreate distant worlds.
There is a cliff along the horizon here. That's one cliff of Valles Marineris. There's the canyon running in this direction east.
Michael McGreevy is a principal engineer at NASA Ames Research Center in California. Using virtual reality...
NASA helped pioneer some of this stuff, by the way. The earliest video I have today, which we'll take a quick break and look at right now because it's relevant, is a video from 1985. This is from NASA's office at Moffett Field, California. This is when they were experimenting with VR for, like, the first time. 85. And it's all, like, vector graphics because they can't render, like full polygons. It's incredible. Like, it's incredible in a how primitive it is way. Like, I can't believe anyone even dealt with
in
this.
which a user can virtually explore a 360-degree synthesized or remotely sensed
And look how
environment
choppy.
and can viscerally interact with its components. The objective of this research is to develop a multi-purpose operator interface environment with initial applications in
It's literally a motorcycle helmet that they've clearly repurposed into this VR headset. That's how primitive this is.
robotics, data management, and human factors research. The foundation of the system is a head-mounted display unit that consists of medium-resolution, monochromatic liquid crystal display screens.
It's a fucking LCD
The
VR.
LCD technology is used to meet design constraints on size, weight, power, safety, and cost, and also to provide a see-through capability. The display screens are presented to each eye of the user through wide-angle optics with an effective field of view for each eye of 120 degrees horizontal and vertical.
Ames Research Center is cool. It's like DARPA, but
Imagery
less
displayed on the
military
screens
stuff.
is
Neat.
pre-distorted to match the field of view of the viewing optics. The resulting stereoscopic image
Anyway,
closely
it's funny that you can see this now because you can tell the wireframe that they're working with here is supposed to be a mock-up of the International Space Station. And as they developed this technology years later, they did actually develop this into a full VR training program that I believe they still use today. They, of course, have the swimming pool thing they have where they have a full duplicate of the ISS submerged in like an Olympic swimming pool, so they can actually deal with like simulated microgravity in the water. But when they're not doing that, they do have a full VR program that they developed and have tweaked over the decades.
Whatever we want.
They were using this in the early 2000s even. But it's basically a little VR program that lets them train doing, what are they called? EVAs when you're outside of the, outside of the station. Anyway, very neat to see the development of that technology from proof of concept all the way to the fact that they developed it out and are using it today, practically.
Reality techniques, two-dimensional electronic pictures sent back from the Viking orbiters have been converted into a three-dimensional model of the planet Mars.
So I would want to walk right around between these boulders.
NASA geologists and armchair astronauts are literally exploring the universe without ever leaving home.
You can extend your presence across the information domain. You can be any size, any place, at any time.
There are, of course, more down-to-earth applications of virtual reality.
It looks like Minecraft.
Detailed models of city landscapes are giving urban planners a chance
to that's a detailed model.
Redesign Main Street without ever lifting a stone.
You can tell it's detailed because it's polygonal instead of vector graphics.
And architects can show you around your new home even before the first brick is laid.
The hardest part of designing anything, including a building.
Yeah, I did see that, Jay's a proxy. I did see they did end up showing pictures.
Is you want to design exactly.
Professor Frederick Brooks is one of the pioneers in virtual reality. His computer science center at the University of North Carolina was partially designed with VR technology. Instead of helmets and sensory gloves, a treadmill and handlebars steer the computer.
This kind of technology...
Why a handlebar? I know that it's early days and they're just like throwing shit together, but I do find it a little strange if I was working on this project with someone and we were trying to figure out the interface for movement and they told me they wanted bicycle handlebars, I'd reconsider who I'm working with. That's the least intuitive way to walk around in VR. Now, if it was a thing where you were on a bike, yeah, sure. But why are you walking around in VR with handles?
That's not...
I know. I'm not really shitting on them. I'm that shitty person that's got to make jokes about everything. They're pioneering the field. I know. I'm the asshole.
Only the architect, but more important, the client, walk together through the proposed new building and suddenly say, oh, this kitchen works fine for cooking, but it doesn't work for parties.
Seem far-fetched? Try far-flung. In Japan, virtual reality is already a consumer's choice. In this Tokyo showroom, a housewife thinking about redesigning her kitchen need only slip into VR gloves and goggles. But one of the most promising applications of virtual reality is in medicine. This cancer patient has a tumor. It has to be located and then bombarded with radiation beams. Current techniques for positioning those beams are painstakingly slow and potentially dangerous.
Star Trek better than Star Wars? I like Star Trek better than Star Wars by a pretty wide margin, but it's subjective. But, like, personally, yes, I'm a much bigger fan of Star Trek than Star Wars. I don't even know if I'd consider myself a fan of Star Wars. I like some of the movies and some of the shows. I just don't have very many strong feelings about it. I do love Star Trek, though, and have pretty strong feelings about that. But I don't think Star Wars is bad or anything. It's just I'm more into science fiction, and Star Wars is more science fantasy. And I also enjoy science fantasy. Doctor Who is basically science fantasy, and that's like my favorite TV show of all time. But just generally with sci-fi, I prefer it to be more spy and less fantasy.
The whole technique of radiation therapy requires bringing very strong...
You can find them online pretty cheap, Miss Hire. This is just, costume, so, like, it's not a comfy material necessarily, but if you just wanted it for, like, a party or to go to an event or something, you can get them for, like, 30 or 40 bucks. This one's too small for me, honestly, but it was the only size they had at the time, so...
X-ray beams.
1 month to go till the new Doctor Who. Yeah, I still have to watch the Christmas special.
To bear on the tumor. The task is, how do you put the beams through so that they hit the tumor and miss other sensitive parts of the anatomy, such as the spinal cord or the eyes?
So Brooks and his colleagues have begun testing a VR system that takes traditional CAT scan images and turns them into a three-dimensional model of the patient's body. Doctors will be able to plan their method of attacking the tumor on this virtual patient, even before the real patient enters the hospital.
So for all intents and purposes, the physician could walk around this virtual body and kind of reach up into space and align these radiation beams to zap the tumor.
Yes, and he sees the tumor, and he sees the beams in their standard position, and he reaches out and takes one and aims it until it goes through the tumor. And he can look along it and see what it's hitting and what it's missing.
Clearly, virtual reality now straddles that foggy boundary between fantasy and fact. Just 9 years ago, a science fiction movie called Tron showed what it might be like not just to play a video game, but to become part of it. Well, Hollywood's dream is John...
I have Tron downstairs, but if you're curious, here's another thing made by some of the people who did Tron. This is called Automan, and they used the same, like, glowy Tron-type technology on this show. Kind of think Tron meets Knight Rider. Tron meets Knight Rider is, I think, an appropriate way to describe it. There are a lot of Knight Rider clones. I don't know if you guys know that. That wolf, Airwolf. There was Airwolf. There's a motorcycle one. The Viper.
Waldron's nightmare. At least that's what he calls this virtual world made for...
Is it good? It's entertaining.
2, a video game where the players are on the inside looking out.
Now the boys are here.
How often can they do the Turbo Nitro in that one? Once per episode. That's the rule. Street Hawk. That's the one. Thank you.
Stick. I've got a helmet. That's right. And you just put the helmet on like that. Right. And of course you see that you have a gun in your hand.
One of your friends worked on Lawnmower Man. Sweet. What did they do on Lawnmower Man?
And to fire the gun, you simply press the trigger. And I'll get in and join you.
Okay. Come into my world, John.
Linked by a computer that tracks our individual motions, Waldron and I are now both inside the same electronic world.
There you are. Hi. Hello there.
It's VR chat, but not horny enough. There are no anime characters or furries, so they haven't quite perfected it yet.
The game board consists of several checkerboard platforms floating in space. The goal, to chase and shoot your opponent.
I've got the gun in my hand here. I hate to do this to you right now, but I missed.
It lobs down. We've made gravity twice what it should be.
You're gone, John. You're history.
As the game proceeds, 2 prehistoric birds slip into view. If one picks you up by the scruff of your neck, the sense of flying can be all too realistic.
I'm a little worried about that flying pterodactyl at this point. Oh, here comes the bird. Where's that bird?
He's got you. He's got you again.
Ah, he got me from behind. Oh, my God.
I think I have to take this helmet off. I'm physically feeling the space here for a second. Oh my God. While I was playing the game, it seems virtual reality was playing a trick on my mind. The pictures and sounds around me were all that was
I
necessary
believe you can download that game on Steam. That's pretty cool that it's been archived somewhere. It is, you know, for better or worse, a piece of VR history, so that's cool.
Convince me I was walking, flying, and falling.
The visual display at the moment is crude. There are these crude cartoon-like characters. That's not the issue. The fact of the matter is, in virtual reality, there is no limits to what we can do. We can be anywhere, anytime, any place.
What about VR Troopers? I loved VR Troopers as a kid. And now as an adult, I love Metal Heroes. So, there you go. Worked out, I guess.
And
I've been watching Wind Spectre recently. It's great.
it's
I loved Gavin and Sherivan and stuff, but, like, I'm really digging Wind Spectre. Anyway.
really, that's...
Bittergrin says, I once paid $5 to pay the exact game at a booth at a state fair. In retrospect, wearing a headset that 100 sweaty people had worn first was a mistake. Yeah, there's a, I don't want to get too specific. Anyway, there is, not quite in the vicinity of me, but close enough, there is a place that's like a restaurant and arcade combo, and I love that stuff. You know, I love arcades, but I haven't really been in an arcade in many years. Like, 90% of the games at this arcade are, like, VR games, and everyone's putting their fucking faces on these VR headset things. And in fairness, I do think they have little covers that you can get to put on it so you don't directly touch, but, like, oh my god. I just want to play Pac-Man. I just want to play Galaga. Why do I gotta put my face on a thing? I just want to play Jurassic Park, Shoot 'em Up, or Time Crisis. Why do I have to put my face on a greasy thing? I'm such a boomer.
That's the issue. It's total escapism.
Quite a game, or is it? Virtual reality had its roots in flight simulators, and today the military is a major user of the technology. American pilots plan their bombing runs on Iraq across a virtual sky, and tank commanders practiced on a virtual battlefield.
We are now reaching the point where the simulations are so realistic that the line between playing a...
Why did a noir detective break into this interview about virtual reality in the 90s?
...game or simulation and actually blowing people up is becoming blurred.
Howard Rheingold has just published the first book on virtual reality. And like all technology, this one, he says, comes complete with a double-edged sword.
There's no way of a soldier in a simulator knowing whether their commanding officer has thrown a switch somewhere and instead of playing a game, they're bombing real people.
For now,
I think you're overestimating the compunctions of American soldiers to kill random people if they're told to. I don't think you need to trick them. I think there's enough that you could just be like, hey, go... You know, we've had enough wars where people are bombing weddings and shit that I think we can fairly say, you don't need to trick them. We have plenty of American soldiers willing to just fucking do whatever.
Flickering moral doubts about this technology remain hidden by its potential power and promise. Today, VR is still in its infancy. But as computers grow more powerful, the graphics more detailed, and the sensations more human, virtual reality will force us to ask, what is real?
This is their example of really high-fidelity graphics at the time, by the way. I really need to point out, they're showing this because this is supposed to be incredible graphics for the time.
It will be up to our...
Pretty sure that's the twist in Ender's Game. It is, and I can spoil that because the writer of Ender's Game is a big piece of shit. So yes, that is the twist in Ender's Game. Don't read or watch Ender's Game. Team Knight Rider isn't that bad. Too many vehicles. It gets silly. They should have gone for Power Rangers Zorg-like thing. I kind of like in Team Knight Rider the motorcycle. It's like a dual vehicle that turns into two motorcycles. Kind of a fun idea. Overall, the show isn't very good, but it's fine. If they put out Team Knight Rider on DVD, I'd get it.
Children to find...
Include Knight Rider 2000, you cowards.
And the answer.
What kind of reality are our grandchildren?
You know what's sad? I really was into Knight Rider 2010 when the reboot came out, the one with the Mustang. Watched every episode of that fucking thing.
Children going to accept? Is the natural world with real trees and real rivers going to be there? Or are we going to live in 800-story high-rises all plugged into our virtual realities in which we walk through artificial forests? This might...
You only recently, a couple of weeks ago, learned about Team Knight Rider. Did you see that video on YouTube? I saw that someone uploaded a video recently about it.
Be a turning point for the human race.
I get a lot of random suggestions for videos like that, because you guys know I'm into weird, obscure TV shows.
We might be going inward towards an artificial experience.
There was a Knight Rider 2010? Yeah. I'll show you in a second after this.
In case you're wondering about the virtual price tag for one of these systems, right now they run from about $50,000 to $200,000. We'll leave you tonight with some more pictures from virtual reality.
Let me see if I can find a thing for the 2010 Knight Rider. Wasn't it 2010, the one with the Mustang? What year was that? No, okay, yeah. It is 2010. There's just not a lot of videos about it. Let me see if I can find a trailer for it. That's the wrong one. I need the one that's actually from 2010. Oh, was it 2008? Is that why? There we go. Okay. Here's the trailer for Knight Rider 2008.
It's the most advanced car ever developed.
Yeah, it was a...
Its power is unmatched.
It was a reboot. It's a reboot sequel. So, like, they do reference Michael Knight, and he does show up in the first episode. And I think the main character is supposed to be his son or something.
And this February, it's back.
I did really dig the theme song. Knight Rider is one of the best 80s like TV themes, and I think the 2008 reboot did a pretty good remake of that theme.
Hello, Mike. Knight Rider returns to NBC in a 2-hour movie event.
Here we go, rolling.
The original kit was the Knight Industries 2000, so we've upgraded to the Knight Industries 3000, and this is the coolest car you'll ever see.
That's
my kind of ride. Kit will have a lot of the same features as far as the artificial intelligence. It'll still be governed by this artificial intelligence.
How is this thing driving by itself?
It's not a thing. It's a car, and you may call it Kit.
Sure, we've got the coolest car in the world, but now it's time to meet the man behind the wheel.
Here we go, rolling.
It doesn't even look like the car. Well, it's supposed to be a different car. It's a Mustang. They had a really stupid promotional deal with Ford. That's why Kit is a Mustang in this. And every episode, one of the new abilities they gave this version of Kit is like it can disguise itself as different vehicles, but only Ford vehicles. So, you know, one episode it'll turn into like a Ford truck and, you know, whatever. It's a way for them to fucking showcase Ford cars. Which is pretty hilariously bad.
Action!
It is not a remake, it is a continuation, a sequel of the original series.
I played Mike Tracer's son, Michael Knight.
It's gonna be the fun Knight Rider that it was and more.
Kit, you try something like that again, I'll put sugar in your gas tank.
Don't even think about it.
Shut down the engine and get out of the car!
This is a very early 2000s trailer. Jesus. Yeah, that was something. Oh, he does.
About 25 years ago, there was a man named Wilton Knight who, on his deathbed, told me one man can make a difference.
You haven't seen any Knight Rider? It's entertaining. I don't know if you'd like it now, watching it the first time, like, as an adult. But it's really charming. I like Knight Rider. I enjoy Michael Knight. He's fun, and his interactions with Kid are good, you know. Alright, back to the VR stuff. Sorry, I got very sidetracked. I think this is from the Sci-Fi channel in 1994. They did little promos in between their shows that were like fake news from the future. So. Come on.
You have selected faster than light news speed for today, 24 October, 2144.
For the past year, the office of the president of the NAU has been occupied by a clone imposter. Attorney General Priscilla Nagel issues this statement.
We are all relieved that the real President Clark has been freed from her year-long imprisonment, and are certainly grateful to Kyle Swan for rescuing her. But the fact remains that Mr. Swan is still a fugitive from justice. He should be issuing his statements from a jail cell.
President Clark was quick to reply.
Kyle Swan was framed.
Benny Kagami says, I don't know how fair that jab at the military was. While soldiers are far from virtuous gestures at any war, a lot worse atrocities the U.S. has committed by mercenaries who are often soldiers that were kicked out. In fact, Israel chased away our soldiers seemingly because they might have mitigated the level of horror of the Gaza situation. Fair enough.
The charges against him were trumped up.
Have I seen any of the restorations from the Knight Rider channel on YouTube? No, what kind of restorations?
By my clone imposter. Kyle is innocent.
The real question is, why was I framed? Who or what wanted me out of the way?
Night, Miss Hire. There's more. A lot of space between them for some reason.
Welcome to Comlink Satellite Service.
Did I ever hear the Australian Air Force messing up their VR demonstration and had kangaroos shooting beach balls at the observers? No.
You have selected faster than light news speed for today, 25 October, 2144.
The friction between President Clark and Attorney General Priscilla Nagel continues.
Certainly the nation is grateful to Mr. Swan for his heroic actions, but the fact remains, Kyle Swan was convicted of murder and treason. He must be remanded to custody.
President Clark responded with this startling announcement.
Kyle Swan has no fear. If not for his courage, I'd still be a prisoner, and Attorney General Nagel would still be taking orders from a clone imposter. I'm offering Kyle Swan a full presidential pardon. As of this moment, Kyle, you're a free man.
Yeah, there seems to be some kind of arc here. That's interesting. You can almost imagine the action movie taking place in the background.
Welcome to Comlink Satellite Service. You have selected faster than light news speed for today, 26 October, 2144.
3 of the little visitors died yesterday. The creatures from Rilo 7 have been in failing health lately. A mysterious wasting syndrome has afflicted them since their outrageous behavior at the NAU banquet 2 months ago. FTL must ask the obvious question. Was it something they ate? The remaining 7 are under close observation. Have you seen one of these for sale? If so, report it immediately. It's being advertised as genuine T. martianus, the plant whose seeds were discovered near Habitat Mars. The importation of alien life forms is strictly forbidden by the Intercombine Treaty of 2117.
That's good to know.
October 2144.
In The Hague, headquarters of the World Congress, Dr. Winston Rilo commented on tomorrow's unveiling.
Thanks, Mr. Black.
Dr. Rilo, we've heard rumors of an astounding discovery on the asteroid. Is that true?
Rumors? I will not comment on rumors. FTL will have to wait until tomorrow like everybody else.
Elsewhere, the Xenobotanical Society has announced that the red-flowered plants being sold as T. martianus are the real thing. Dr. F. Paulson, president of the society, commented.
This could be catastrophic. Who knows what havoc the introduction of an untested plant could wreak upon Earth's biosphere? This threat must be rooted out at once.
They have one of the cars and truck they used in the show. That's cool. So they're just restoring them.
Congress in The Hague.
You are about to see the latest incredible discovery from the interior of Rilo 7. This holographic image appears to be part of some sort of navigational device. It demonstrates the known trajectory of Rilo 7, a trajectory that leads directly back to Jupiter's moon Europa. The implication is clear. The asteroid was sent here from Europa. Isotope dating indicates that the asteroid was shaped and hollowed out sometime in the late 20th century. We believe the so-called Shoemaker-Levy 9 comet was actually debris from this process.
Comlink is making full copies of the holographic displays available to all interested parties.
It's a video. These were interstitial stuff between shows on the Sci-Fi channel in 1994.
Welcome, year 2144.
Could the mysterious Rilo 7 have come from Europa? The answer from most scientists is a flat no. But Dr. Winston Rilo has his own ideas.
Europa is an Earth...
I've not seen Babylon 5 yet. I do have it. Someone sent it to me. So I am planning on watching it eventually, but I've not gotten to it quite yet.
...sized moon buried under a mile or more of ice, an unlikely home for an alien civilization. But that doesn't mean some sort of intelligence couldn't use it as a base or staging area.
The world's scientists are wondering if there's more to Europa than meets the eye. Entrepreneur Armando Corleone of Sicily has been charged with illegal importation of an alien life form. He was arrested in a Palermo warehouse stocked with thousands of T. martianus plants.
Day, 1 November, 2144.
I think this is maybe the last episode.
Members of Shiva are still waiting for the virtual presence to reappear so they can capture it with their new software. For the time being, the presence remains in hiding. Could Shiva have frightened it off? More fallout from the little visitors debacle at the NAU banquet in August. Chef Henri
Debacle instead of debacle.
de Poisson resigned today because of the mess that was made of his elaborate real food creations.
Next they serve monkeys, my creation.
Oh my god, he's literally just the Swedish chef, but not a puppet.
Everyone in the government, yes, even Madame Clark, herself, she needs those vote buggers and be happy.
The administration is interviewing for a new chef.
That was lovely. Alright, let's see what else.
We're exploring the use of virtual reality for training people how to perform tasks, such as operating and maintaining complex equipment. This video will describe Steve, an intelligent agent we're developing to assist in the training. Virtual reality provides a three-dimensional, interactive mock-up of the student's work environment, allowing them to practice tasks. The student, who's wearing a head-mounted display, appears as a floating head in the virtual world. Here we see the world through the eyes of a third-party observer watching the student. Steve, an intelligent agent, cohabits the virtual world with students to help them.
Hello.
Alden Undying says, hey Hannah, hope you're well. I put an old Canadian PSA in the vault on Discord, wondering if you saw it yet. I haven't yet.
Okay. Let me show you how to perform the pre-start procedure. Always perform this procedure before starting the compressor to make sure everything is in working order. I will now check the oil level in the compressor crankcase sump. First, pull out the dipstick. Now we can check the oil level on the dipstick. It should be between the L and H marks. As you can see, the oil level is normal. Next, insert the dipstick. I will now perform a functional check of the temperature monitor to make sure that all the...
It's
Next,
interesting
press the-
looking, but it's insufferable to listen to.
Excuse me, I need to insert the dipstick again.
Okay, I hope he has fun inserting the dipstick. I'm gonna move on. What's this? Do you need lube for the dipstick? A dipstick is usually to check the level of oil, which is a lubricant. It could also, I guess, be to check like a coolant or something. So I think it would be superfluous to apply lube to the dipstick. It doesn't need to, not usually in like a tight thing. Submerged in whatever the liquid is that you need to check. To be clear, I know you're just doing double entendre.
The Cave Virtual Reality Theater is a projection-based system. The illusion of immersion is created by projecting stereoscopic computer graphics into a 10-foot cube made of screens that completely surround the viewer. Viewers explore virtual environments by walking in the cave space. Head and hand tracking systems produce the correct perspective projection from the user's point of view.
Interesting. So it's almost like those volume things that exist these days. Those don't quite work like this. They're made for the perspective of a camera, but like similar idea. It tracks where you are, and the view on the walls changes depending on your perspective. Okay.
And determine the position and orientation of a handheld device we call the wand. This device is used for control and interaction with the virtual world. An audio system is also used and provides...
That's the holodeck. It's actually closer to the recreation room that was shown in Star Trek the Animated Series, which is a precursor to the holodeck. Because in that, everything was projected directly on the walls, even though it doesn't look like it in the episode. That's how they describe it.
Sound feedback. The current implementation of the cave has 4 screens, 3 surrounding walls, and a floor. Each side of the cube has an associated Electro-Home projector and a Crimson Reality Engine workstation from Silicon Graphics. Mirrors are used to fold the optics to reduce the space required between the projectors and screens. Stereographics LCD shutter glasses provide stereo viewing. The tracking systems are...
They're saying they're active 3D glasses.
A Polimas Isotrack and Ascension Technologies Flock of Birds. The audio system includes a sampler with a MIDI interface and 6 speakers. The entire cave system is controlled by a Silicon Graphics personal iris. The cave is a non-intrusive interface where reality and virtual reality are combined naturally. Wearing lightweight LCD shutter glasses, users can see themselves and their real surroundings blended with the virtual
They
environment.
should include the Rec Room in Strange New Worlds. Agreed! Why haven't they done that yet? They should.
Interaction with the virtual environment is done with the wand. Its controls and functions depend on the needs of each particular application. In this application, we can see how it is used as a navigation device. In this one, the wand maps the user's head with the computer-generated head. As the user slices his head with the wand, he can see the different sections of the internal structure. Another use for the wand is the ability to
I've always wanted to slice my head.
Move virtual objects. Audio feedback is used to complement the illusion of immersion. Visuals and audio are choreographed to respond to the user's actions or to reflect the state of the virtual environment. Multiple users
Actually, one up says, but is there multimodal reflection sorting? Oh shit, what is that from? I recognize that technobabble. Multimodal reflection sorting. What is that technobabble from? I recognize it.
can easily share the virtual experience by putting on a set of stereo glasses and
Which scenario was it in Star Trek TNG where they talked about it?
stepping into the cave. In the current implementation, one user actively controls the viewpoint by wearing the tracking glasses. Other users passively perceive the experience, much like watching a 3D movie. Since the cave gear is so easy to wear, users frequently exchange the tracking glasses during the experience. This shared experience also allows for guided tours by an expert navigator. The cave is a general
multimodal reflection sorting. Was that something he was doing in the next phase? Where Ensign Rowe and Geordi got shifted into a slightly different... I don't even know exactly what it is. Frame of reference, so they were kind of like ghosts, but not really. It was Best of Both Worlds Part 2? Okay.
virtual reality interface. Its design is flexible enough to be used in a variety of applications. Most applications shown in this tape are collaborations between the Electronic Visualization Laboratory and invited researchers from various disciplines. The cave is an effective visualization tool which provides scientists a new way to explore their research data.
Ooh, here's a pretty funny one. This is a virtual... I think this is basically an online college. There's nothing wrong with online, you know, college or school or whatever. But this is that era, that initial era where they were trying to sell VR. Basically, it's a precursor to... Remember a couple of years ago when all the companies were trying to sell the really stupid idea of the metaverse? They weren't the first ones to do that. That was also a thing in the 90s and early 2000s. So this is an attempt at that. A collaborative place in cyberspace.
Welcome to the virtual UCSC campus, a 21st century university. Hi, I'm Anna, and I'm a fine art major at Porter College. I'll be your virtual guide.
Aren't they still pushing metaverse crap? These days they've mostly moved their venture capital over to AI, generative AI crap. I think they still have some money in metaverse stuff, but it's barely there compared to what it used to be some years ago.
For the next few minutes.
I can't wait for the AI hype cycle to die down. I'm just fear for what lies next, what dreams may come, and by dreams I mean nightmares that tech bros fucking come up with that we have no idea what they're going to be.
This is not really me, of course. This is my avatar, my persona in
my avatar.
Cyberspace. I'm sitting in front of my computer, but with my avatar...
But then the Firewall Nation attacked.
I can take you on a virtual tour of our campus. Just kick back in front of your screen, and I'll show you the ropes. We just warped over to the
After artificial intelligence will be artificial stupidity. I think we have enough of that. I don't think we need more.
Campus teleport map. UCSC students built this campus. I think that's pretty cool. And they did it as a summer project with world-class 3D designers living in other countries. Many of our team members haven't even met each other in person. But it doesn't really matter. Why not?
Why isn't the
because
pause
our
thing
campus
going
is
away?
A shared virtual space. We can all meet here, yet be physically located anywhere on the planet.
Go away, pause thing.
We just teleported to Porter, my favorite college, where we have a kiosk with a real video clip.
Sorry, I'm trying to figure out why the cursor
of Kyla, one of the VUCSC builders.
Each of the rooms in Porter was built with the intention of becoming a meeting place.
Okay, I can't get it to go away, I'm sorry.
Or a gallery or some type of classroom. Right now we have some faculty work on display, but any of these rooms can be used for any variety of...
Oh damn, the mono command broke it. It's only in one ear, I tried to fix it, but it fucked it up.
Digital presentations, web-based digital design, streaming audio and video, animations, really anything that you can put your imagination to.
Here we are at the Virtual Fireside Lounge at Porter. This month's rotating exhibition is on the work of UCSC psychology professor Dominic Massaro. Dr. Massaro and his colleagues have designed a virtual talking head for teaching speech to deaf students.
Tried using this for language learning in grad school, discovered not everyone hates having the body they were born in. Wouldn't that be nice to just feel comfortable in your body for 5 seconds and not feel a constant existential pain?
In this interactive online gallery, every kiosk, sign, picture, or animation on the walls is clickable. Each is linked to a web page, an audio file, or video file.
Wow, I can click on hyperlinks in a more cumbersome way than a normal website. How inconvenient.
Here, I'm clicking on a page from UCSC's PSL Lab. This page shows experiments in facial animation from all over the world. Here, follow me down this aisle. I'll take you straight to Dr. Massaro's homepage, and we can find out about his upcoming conference at UCSC.
Could we not?
Here, on our student mentor wall, you can click pictures to get to short biographies of current UCSC students. This is Omar Gonzalez. Look here at his page. He came to UCSC from Los Angeles as a participant in the dual degree engineering program. His email address is at the top of his page, so you can write to him directly about his experiences as a UCSC student. Oh, I see he's a College 8 student. Let's go over there now.
It still looks better than Decentraland. Jokes aside, it doesn't look better, but it looks shockingly on about the same level. Can I just point out that this is from, what year was this, 1998? Almost 30 years ago? And yet, Decentraland essentially looks and functions exactly the same. I just want to point that out. Decentraland, which was supposed to be a cutting-edge, like look into the future, into Web 3, basically looks like the same product someone threw together 30 years ago.
Oh. Each virtual college on the VUCSC has a real audio introduction from one of the students of that college. Here, I'll show you by clicking on this kiosk.
Hi, my name is Micah Carlin Goldberg, and I'm a computer science major at College 8. I selected College 8 because when I took a tour, this was the college that just felt right.
Well, I have to run off to class now. Thanks for coming. Remember, you can visit VUCSC anytime, virtually.
Cute. Let's see what else. This is a looking forward, what to expect in the future concept video from 19... Oh, this was this was made in 1987, but it's supposed to be about 97. So it's them doing a fake future thing.
No question about it, the 1990s have really been the Apple decade.
1997. Apple turns 20 this year, and everybody's celebrating, from Cooper Pedy to Cupertino.
Just look anywhere in the media between 1987 and 1997. Apple is in everything, from news to stand-up comedy.
They're everywhere.
This is the city. Los Angeles, California. I work here. I'm a computer.
They're everywhere.
They wrest a precarious living from the desert here in Ulaanbaatar, relying upon only instinct and several Apple computers.
They're everywhere, and they're all communicating.
Shuttle Flight 472 is now boarding. The white zone is for loading and unloading.
I don't think that last paragraph presents our case as strongly as it could. How about this?
I think we should say something about wine and cheese. Perhaps.
Yeah, beauty, mate. Now throw in a stack of biscuits and we'll have
Apple making a phone? That'll never happen.
Buddy.
I hope not.
Almost all the growth in the computer industry in the last decade happened in one place, the desktop.
And of course, that means Apple.
They really didn't anticipate Windows coming out. Again, this is from 1987.
This being 1997, some people feel the Apple II concept is getting old. We don't agree.
The Apple II VSOP, the computer for the new millennium.
What year did Apple introduce the graphical user interface in the mouse? What year was that?
Very smooth, old.
You think Windows existed then? In 1987?
Processor.
I thought they didn't start to become a thing until the early 90s.
And today at Apple Computer, another
Certainly wasn't the behemoth it would become after, like, Windows 95 came out.
milestone. This is the 50 millionth Macintosh produced since 1984.
And in the last 10
Windows 1.0, okay.
years, we've made a lot of big improvements, and some small ones too.
Presenting the Vista Mac. The Vista Mac 2, a new, thinner profile.
That's supposed to be computer glasses. They still haven't gotten that one right. And they've tried.
Of course, the classic Macintosh design is as recognizable as the Coke bottle, Pepsi bottle.
Oh, the joke was that Pepsi would take over Coke, because at this point Pepsi had actually taken over Coke for a brief period during the Cola Wars. So it's a joke about the Cola Wars. That didn't continue. Coke regained its dominance over Pepsi.
Computer speed doubles every 2 years, computer memory doubles every 2 years. "32 times the speed, 32 times the RAM, and 1/10 the parts. Weird."
So I told my wife, this is the 90s. We do more with less, right? You don't believe me? Open up your computer. What's in there? Nothing. There's nothing in there.
Real. Ashley One Up says, coincidentally, Coke regained its dominance after Hannah was born. I'm doing my part.
Build them simply, so they're simple to fix.
Module 2 is about to fail. Your key operator has been notified on the Apple Fix link. Replacement should take about 3 minutes.
The first version of GEOS for the Commodore 64 was released in 1985. GEOS was the graphical user interface that was also available for the Commodore 128, Plus 4, and Apple II. Okay, gotcha. For some reason, I got it in my head that Apple had designed the first graphical user interface. I don't know why. I don't know how I confused that in my head.
I don't get it. What'd I do wrong here?
Please plug in the keyboard.
Oh.
A computer that talks is
Hello,
no big
computer.
deal. A computer that really listens, that's a breakthrough.
Artemis8192, thank you for 48 months, says, going to use this for a personal announcement. I'm looking for D&D players. Details are in the TTRPG channel on Discord. If you want to get to the Discord, here's the link. Always happy to have new people on the Discord, so continue joining if you haven't, consider joining rather if you haven't already. Lots of fun discussions there, and also you'll get notified when I go live. Oh, and Carpcosian with a link.
Sure.
I'm doing my part.
I'm doing my part.
I'm doing my part.
I'm doing my part too.
Not understanding that movie confuses me. There's a literal child soldier.
Afraid I'll push the wrong button and damage something.
How long have you had this feeling?
Apple computers have always been friendly, but we've gone from friendly to understanding.
Good morning. This is October 5th, 1997. I have checked 4 wire services, scanned 8 magazines and 18 newspapers, and accessed the New York, Tokyo, and Paris databases. Here are 3 items you may be interested in.
Basically just saying they're gonna develop algorithms. That's a shame. Social media, I think, in hypothetical, isn't a bad thing if it's all chronological and you just get fed stuff from people you follow directly. The second algorithms started feeding you specific things to improve engagement, oh my god, we were doomed. We were so doomed.
A complicated system like
when you prioritize engagement without thinking of the negative externalities and don't care about what that engagement costs,
this, I usually need a little help. Now you'll need financial management with 83 workstations, 2 domestic sites and 2 international, sub-networks within each site.
Yes, and I'll need mainframe access throughout.
Here's a possible configuration. We installed one like it last October.
Funny, he doesn't have a laptop to show him. He brought a full desktop computer on a plane.
How's it working out?
Hello, I'm Stephen Smith, Vice President of Intercon. Our Apple Financial
Oh, okay. Maybe you need a full desktop for a hologram attachment.
System
can't get that on a laptop.
Has revolutionized the way we do business in just 6 months. It helped our bank buy it.
Custom design and manufacturing really had an impact on how sales does its job.
The specifications are turned into a design at the Technology Center. Time between customer input and product output has been compressed.
We cover the world, not just selling, but designing and manufacturing.
One of 6 worldwide technology centers. The Iceland facility will design and build computers for Arctic markets.
One thing that hasn't changed since 1987, growth.
Line go up. Line go up. Yay!
When Apple computer revenue broke $5 billion back in 1991, John Scully's reaction was characterized as that of a Cheshire cat grin. Today, Apple computer revenue broke the 20 billion mark. Scully had this reaction.
What is Apple's revenue today? What is Apple's revenue? So curious. In billions. That's hilarious. Apple's revenue is almost $400 billion in 2024. What was it in... Do we have numbers for the year this is supposed to be? No, damn it. Looks like they didn't hit 20 billion until 2006, though, so they were definitely a little overzealous with their predictions.
In other news, Jack Tramiel opened a new...
Line go up forever. Yeah, you know how you can get a lemon and just squeeze juice out of it forever? Yeah, that's our economic system. We're just gonna squeeze that lemon, and it'll never run out of juice. Everything is infinite. We're good.
Restaurant today.
I wanted Apple to be the world's business leader in finance, manufacturing, marketing, and R&D for the 90s.
We all expected Apple to become big, very big, but without becoming
$6.5 billion in 1997. Thank you.
Big business.
In 1987,
probably would have been higher if it wasn't for Windows PCs.
The people at Apple didn't completely understand the significance of their work, but they suspected it might turn out to be very important. What can I say? Now we know they were right.
A lot has changed in the last decade, but a lot hasn't changed. In 1997, Apple is still a company with vision, and the Apple vision is stronger than ever.
I've not seen that movie, Altered Undying. I do think I saw it's coming out on 4K, though. Hbeard says the Pepsi joke is because the CEO of Apple at the time had been the president of PepsiCo before he took over Apple. Okay. Interesting ad.
You're more inside the game. It was amazing. Just act like you're really there.
It's really cool.
I like it. This is so much cooler than TV because you don't have like people walking in front of you when you're playing.
Sound is like projected right to your ear.
It's really cool.
leaning into it, trying to steer with my head.
Whoa. Take part in the adventure. Put it on. Available now.
That was a lot. The 90s were a lot. No wonder I have ADHD. Oh.
Welcome to a 21st century fashion show.
The future is in the small. Small is beautiful.
Where chic meets geek.
A merger of electronics and clothing.
Where computers are part of your wardrobe. And being well connected,
the Lizzie transforms you into a walking internet portal.
Takes on a whole new meaning.
Knowledge is power, and anybody who's connected to the internet all the time is simply more powerful.
Alex Lightman, founder of a company called InfoCharms, hopes to sell wearable computers sometime soon.
Most of these projects are at research stages, but there's a tsunami wave of wearables coming onto the market.
You ever bump into a pole or a tree wearing this outside?
The question is, do I ever bump into a pole or a tree without it?
Thad Starner was one of the early pioneers of wearable computers at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology. You're wearing a wearable computer as we speak.
This guy is either homeless or worth $7 billion now. Fun fact. Gotta flip a coin to figure out which.
And you also have a video camera that we've placed on you. Mm-hmm. What do you see?
It's just like any other computer screen, except that to me, it just looks like I have a monitor that's overlaying your face right now.
The computer itself is remarkably powerful and portable. And how much does this weigh? 2 pounds, maybe?
That's probably more like a pound.
And this, which looks like about the size of a small cell phone, what is this?
Well, this is a key.
That's the size of a small cell phone.
Keyboard. Again, this is the system I use for typing. It's called a twiddler.
Oh my god, those keyboards are so bad. I know some people use them.
Starner can twiddle 60 words a minute.
What I like to do is actually get ready for class, look over the notes I made.
You're right. Sorry, the subtitles aren't English. Let me fix that. Why are they Dutch? English.
Night.
Which comes in handy when he's teaching at Georgia Tech.
I've put down some...
Oh wow, that's completely fucked too. That's hilarious. Yeah, I can't do the captions for this. It doesn't have just normal English captions.
Questions, some statements, some suggestions.
And you have that here.
I have it in the display.
And you will be able to read that, access it when you want to.
Yes.
Remind yourself of discussion topics.
Yep, exactly.
All the studs, instead of 2x4s, they're 2x6s.
After class, he uses his wearable computer to take notes on a student project.
Well, the data closet was supposed to be over here.
It's so fast and so natural that I get these notes down and I have them forever, and it doesn't really interrupt the flow of the conversation. He started in July.
And with 24-hour access to the internet, Starner can communicate with anyone in the world, anytime, anywhere.
I'm gonna be honest, it's not as amazing as you'd think. It gets old. I'm just gonna be honest. I could talk with fewer people, and I'd be happy.
So you live life online, essentially.
Yeah, I actually have most of the information in my life stored.
Except all of you, of course.
On my computer. Things like my schedule, things about where the good movie theaters are, where the good restaurants are.
When you go to bed at night, do you plug yourself in? Recharge yourself?
I plug in the batteries. When I sleep, the computer sleeps.
I want to point out we're all this guy now. It might not be right here on a pair of glasses, but we all carry around equipment to access these things all the time and are obsessed with it. So this guy was just ahead of the curve. He was just doom scrolling, or it was cool.
And while the fashion end of things still needs some work, it appears that the best dressed of the next century will be the nouveau nerd.
Right now I'm watching a movie.
Whose hemline will be online.
We're really going to be sharing thoughts with everybody, almost in real time.
What if the thoughts are bad? Have you considered what if the thoughts are bad? Have you considered?
The world we're heading for.
There are 64 days till the year 2000. As the clock ticks down to...
Would you be surprised to learn this guy went on to work on Google Glasses? Not at all. Not at all.
At the turn of the century, the CBS Evening News is reporting on many of the significant changes you can expect in the new century. Unfortunately, you can expect more crime and criminals, but there may be some new ways of dealing with them, as CBS's Jim Stewart reports in tonight's Countdown to 2000.
Here's a pop quiz prison officials like to throw at visitors. Do you have any idea how many Americans are behind bars today? Answer, 1.3 million. Want to guess how many will be there in the 21st century? Maybe as high as 33 million.
Jesus Christ.
And now for the real...
What is it actually now? Oh God, what is it actually now? How many people are incarcerated in the United States? 2 million people! We did it! We didn't... It's not 33 million! We did it! It's roughly the same! Still too many! But oh boy.
Twister, where on...
33 million people would be like 10% of the population! I just want to point that out. This news program just said 10% of the population was gonna be in prison.
Earth are we going to put them all? Well, here's one possible solution, and it's not...
Where are we gonna put them all? Cut to...
Them all. Well, here's one possible solution, and it's...
What if we just shoot them into space? Can we just do that?
It's not as far-fetched as you may think. Given time and technology, scientists say, space-based human warehouses could be the prisons of the future.
Can we not call it a human warehouse? And also, there's no version of the world in which it's more cost-effective to keep prisoners in space? This is bonkers.
England transported its prisoners to the United States and to Australia, so this is just a change in transporting now to space.
It's just one of...
Do you think maybe we should have some moral progression along with the technological, or we're just gonna be the worst possible version of ourselves for eternity, but with better phones?
Dozens of concepts now being discussed by a handful of penology experts in America.
Penology expert, Alright. I get it.
Who are charting the future. Gene Stevens teaches a course on it at the University of South Carolina, and if you think space prisons are a stretch, listen to this one.
We could go to artificial aging. So say we have a 20-year-old that's committed a violent crime. Why don't we age him 25 years, make him 45, put him back on the streets, and not have to worry about this?
What the fuck is this problem? What is this? What? There's just people out here aspiring to create incredibly dystopian societies, and they're just like, yeah, why not? It wouldn't work either. Like, people are just gonna commit crimes and get old. Oh boy, okay, anyway.
In other words, rob the inmate of the years he would be...
Don't create the torment nexus, damn it. You're damn right, Stone Corbell. You're damn right.
Most likely to commit a crime. Prisoners of
the Deep Space Nine episode Hard Time. Yeah, many sci-fi stories have dabbled with this very dystopian concept.
The future will
Black Mirror has done it several times.
Eventually be segregated into two broad groups, Stevens believes. Those absolutely too dangerous to ever be released again, and non-violent offenders who don't even have to be behind bars. They could be closely tracked by a global positioning satellite that can spot them down to a few feet. Electronic boundaries like those we impose on pets could be set up for these inmates, and surgically implanted electrodes could even shock them until they return to where they're supposed to be.
What in the fuck is wrong with human beings? Why are we? Why do we exist?
One thing we could implant would be a subliminal implant. In other words, basically a message is being piped into the subconscious constantly. Do the right thing, do what's required of you, be a good citizen, don't...
Oh my fucking god! He's reinvented the fucking thing from Clockwork Orange! Did he see Clockwork Orange and he was like, oh yeah, that's a good idea? They did this shit in Sherlock Holmes in the 22nd century, too! It never works. It never works.
Disobey the law.
Extreme criminals pose a different challenge. Housed today in facilities like this one in Colorado called Supermax, ideas for the next millennium call for everything from...
Anyone? Check, check. Can't hear or see me? Can anyone hear or see me? No? Someone said back? Back? Question mark? Back on YouTube? Can you hear me on YouTube? Ken? YouTube sometimes when it disconnects won't hear me. I don't know if they can hear me on YouTube. Sorry about that, by the way. Okay, we're good on Twitch at least. I don't know why it's not letting me connect to chat on YouTube. Okay, there it is. You can see on YouTube. Awesome. Thank you. All fixed. You can hear me too? Excellent. All right. Sorry, yeah, the internet just cut out for some reason. We're good, though.
Presents his case from a podium that witnessed the
I'll
moment
go
of the
back a little bit, because I don't know how much you missed. Baba Booey, thanks for 2 months. Says whoop whoop. Thank you very much. Subscriptions are always appreciated.
crash can be simulated for future juries.
This is what caused the disaster. The metal pieces are shot into the cargo area.
Witnesses can testify by video from across the globe. Jurors can take virtual reality tours of the crime scene while the prosecutor presents his case from a podium that's actually a computer. And that's just the start, says Professor Frederick Lederer.
We can have a trial in which no one is in the same location.
That one's pretty accurate. Zoom court's very common these days. COVID kind of made that a thing.
Perhaps Star Trek was not quite so fanciful. Perhaps it will be, Your Honor, may I beam in to Your Honor's chambers?
Oh my god, fucking nerds.
As fanciful as some of these...
Your Honor, can I beam into your, courtroom?
Ideas may sound, experts say many are closer than you think, and that raises some serious civil liberty issues. Do we really want impersonal justice without a courtroom? For our jurors to be connected only by computer, or to exert mind control over future inmates?
Still no feed on Twitch. Other people are typing in it, so some people can...
Some worry that this science fiction may become fact before we have any answers. Jim Stewart, CBS News, on the countdown to 2000.
Well, that was incredibly dystopian. I can't believe they played that and were like, yeah, this is great.
All right. Here he is.
This is a guy, maybe one of the guys from an earlier video, I don't know, trying to sell people at like a conference, you know, like CES type thing, show some new technology. Afghanistan, thanks for 9 months, says, my baby has name. This sub-baby's name is going to be Virtuosity Contessa the Fourth. You're welcome.
Playing into another reality while we experience this one.
We're almost on a hype train.
What's the word, Lee?
Bird is the word.
All right.
Definitely bird.
So what's the plans here? Is this a new product that you wanna see out in the world, or?
Well, there's a company, Ready Information Systems, which I'm the VP for Research and Development now. And we're going to be manufacturing these things. We're also going to be manufacturing authoring software and performing authoring for those who don't want to have to pay for the authoring software.
All right.
It's a system solution for the personal, portable, or wearable market.
So you could use this anywhere, plug it into any standard PC.
Oh, they mean chat isn't up on screen. Don't know why it's not working now.
As well, or is this?
Well, you have an RS-232 connector there for that sort of interface. It's got a PC built into it, in effect. About the equivalent of a
there it is.
Speeded up XT. It has up to it's 1 or 2 megabytes of.
H-Baird with 40 bits and a link. Nerd! Yeah. I think 30% of my brain space is Simpsons quotes. Same.
RAM, 256K of ROM. We have a paging EMS kind of system for using the extra RAM. And we have a memory card that can fit in a slot. And that's sort of like a floppy.
Look at how portable
disc.
it is. It's just like carrying around 4 or 5 Walkmans all in one big chunk.
It can store up to a megabyte. Now, you pay more for a megabyte card, but...
Harold Elbelman says, I was there. The Countdown to 2000 segment on the CBS Evening News wasn't optimistic. It was pure boomer anxiety about a changing world. I'm now the boomer.
That's as big as it'll work.
Minute left to start a hype train.
So the information...
Oh my god, it's like a Virtual Boy. It's all red. Oh.
Access goes through the memory card, through a CD.
To be clear, that flickering wouldn't be noticeable to your eye. That's an issue of a difference of the frame rate of the camera and the screen, but still, that would probably not be super comfortable on your eye. Reminds me of the Tiger Electronic game eye thing they had.
Well, so describing...
Sorry, Afghanistan. What did I call the baby? Virtuosity Contessa the Fourth? I think?
How things work in a computer is sort of they all go through the central processor and then they go various places. You can run it without the memory card. That's what I'm doing.
Right.
This is just
another access point. Yeah.
The main memory is all internal.
The Tiger Zone. Thank you.
Point to things with the isometric joystick and the cursor moves on the...
Nemesaur, thank you so much for gifting 10 Tier 1 subs. Almost on a hype train again.
Rather proprietary, or patented at least, but we're making it...
The Tiger R Zone, that's it.
Available under license.
Let me actually pull that up, because that one's pretty bad, too. Like, Twitch is putting more ads on my shit recently. Was there an ad for it or something I could pull up?
Are you
This is a bad... I'm sure they're going to make it look better than it actually was.
ready to run Daytona? Vanquish a virtual fighter.
Oh my god, the games did not look like that. They're such liars.
Spend some justice in virtual
Liar!
Then it's time for some fist-in-your-face reality as all 3 rip into the R-Zone.
This is total
Blast your
horseshit.
way.
You know the Tiger games? It looked like the Tiger games where it's sort of like the same technology that's in like a calculator, like a solar calculator. You guys know what I'm talking about, right? It was like that, but just up close to your eye. Terrible, terrible stuff.
Through Virtual Cop.
Here come the bad guys!
Tear up the tar at Daytona.
Checkpoint, checkpoint!
And prepare to meet your virtual master.
It's Giraffe!
All R-Zone cartridges play on the R-Zone and the R-Zone Super Screen. Are you ready?
Ugh. Terrible. Alright, I gotta use the bathroom real quick. While I'm gone, Cher will tell you about... Arcade. This is actually pretty good. This was made by Full Moon Features. This is about virtual reality, and one of the stars is what's his name? Delancey, right? Fuck is his name? He's Q. John Delancey, I want to say. Seth Green's also in this. The 90s horror movie, really low budget, about an arcade game coming to life and then go into virtual reality and it kills them. It's terrible. I love it. Be right back. I'm back. Right next to Mandroid, where it belongs. Alright, here's an ad from 1989 for a consumer robot. I gotta assume this is just like a concept thing. But, let's check it out.
Kevin, your work is really improving. Are you getting some special help?
It's Newton. He lives with us now.
Who's Newton?
We really did. I enjoyed it.
Do that again.
Excuse me a minute. I've got to call home and see if everything's all right.
I thought the kids were staying with your folks this weekend. Who's watching your house?
Mandroid. I have Mandroid and Manimal. You could say I have the portmanteau genre real wrapped up.
Newton.
Who's Newton?
My shitty robot.
With your family gone camping, I'm really surprised you got up this early to meet me.
Newton woke me up.
All right, who is Newton?
Mike, this report is outstanding. I'll bet you had the office staff up nights working on this return.
Well, not exactly. Newton was my source of information.
Newton? We don't have anybody on the payroll named Newton. Who's Newton?
Have I seen Robot in the Family? I've not seen it, but I am aware of it. I do have Heart Beeps. Should we watch Heart Beeps? Fuck it. Fuck this stream. Let's watch fucking Heart Beeps. Why do I own Heart Beeps?
Don't you get lonely in this big house with Mike and the kids gone? Not with Newton around? Who's Newton?
Whoever made the call saved your house, probably your lives.
Boy, had to be Newton.
Who's Newton?
This is Newton, the first and only practical personal robot from SynPet. Newton
I love that every 20 years they try to sell consumer robots to people too. Do you remember like 3 or 4 years ago when they were trying to sell consumer robots again? Now don't get me wrong, industrial robots are a thing. But I'm talking in the home type robots.
He talks, works, and plays. He's an educator, a security.
Can you guys see me? Fresh, maybe? I'm back. I don't know why that's happening. I'm very sorry. I haven't had this issue since we've been using Ethernet. I know they were supposed to be doing... I'm not muted. Shit. Shit.